Now, I'm going to tell you a story. Are you ready for a story? It's important to be ready for the story. We need to be sitting comfortably. We need to be sitting with people who won't distract us and who we won't distract. A story is a time for listening, not for talking. Time for thinking. Now, you can come down here and sit close to the story, but not on the story. That's okay. Or you might prefer to stay in your seats, and that's okay too. So find the place where you can be most ready for the story. This is a big story. A big story. It's a story about a baby and a story about a king. You need to stay right off the platform? Sorry, it's a big story. I'm going to need all the space. That's right. So if you sit on the story, there won't be any space for the story. That's right. Good listening, sweetie. A story about a baby, a story about a king. This is a long time ago. God made the world, and God made people. And God made promises to people. He made promises to a man named Adam that one day God and people would live together again. He made promises to a man named Abraham that he would have many, 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 many descendants. And he made promises to a king called David that one day one of his descendants would be king forever. Abraham had quite a few descendants, but the line of kings had come to an end, and God and people weren't quite living together that well. God seemed very far away. He wasn't, but it seemed that way. Some people were very close to God. God spoke to them and they listened, and they spoke God's words to people. They were called prophets. Prophets told of the things that were happening in their time and in their place. But they also spoke of Jesus, the coming King. And so the prophets waited for the King. This is Jesus' family. They were descendants of David, of Abraham, and of Adam. This is Mary. And this is Joseph. They were ordinary people. Mary and Joseph weren't yet married when they'd found out that Mary was going to have a baby. And in that time and in that place, that was not a good thing. People could be very cruel to women at that time and in that place who weren't yet married when they had babies. But an angel of God had spoken to them and told them that the baby would be born, that the baby would be the Son of God, and they told them what to name the baby. The government of the day wanted to count all the people in the country. So they asked all the people to go back to the place where their families had come from. So Mary and Joseph went to Bethlehem, where King David had come from. There were no beds for them anywhere, so they stayed with the animals. And while they were there, the baby was born. The baby Jesus, who would reunite people with God. The baby Jesus, who would allow all people to be adopted as children of Abraham. And the baby Jesus, who would be king forever. Now these are some shepherds. These shepherds are quite clean and nice. But shepherds in Jesus' day weren't very clean, and lots of people thought they weren't very nice. But perhaps they were nice, if you took the time to get to know them. This is an angel. An angel is a messenger from God. And the angel came and told the shepherds that the king had been born. God sent a messenger to these people, the people that lots of people thought weren't very nice, and told them the biggest news ever. So the shepherds rushed off to see the new king. These are the wise men, or magi. We called them three kings in the song we sang before. They knew about stars, where the stars went and how they moved. But then there was a star that did not belong, a star that moved in a different way. They understood this star meant that a king had been born. So they followed the star to Israel. No. They followed the star to Israel and asked King Herod if he knew where the new king was. King Herod was a bit disturbed by the news that a new king had been born. So he went and asked his advisors. And he asked his advisors where the new king was to be born, and they told him that the prophets had spoken of a baby, a new king, that would be born in Bethlehem. So Herod went back to the Magi and told the Magi what the prophets had said. He told them to go and make a thorough search for the baby in Bethlehem, and when they found the child, to come and tell Herod, so that he would be able to go and worship him too. The Magi were warned in a dream not to do this. So when they went home a different way. But they went to Bethlehem to worship the child, the king. And they took presents. Gold, frankincense, and myrrh, which are very strange gifts for a baby, but exactly the right gifts for a king. This is the king. He's not the usual king. He wasn't born in a palace. But the usual kings did the wrong things. The usual kings died and were buried. And after a while, there were no more kings. Jesus did the right thing. Always. But he did die. And God raised him to life again. And he's alive now and getting his kingdom ready, inviting all people to be a part of his kingdom. Just as God promised to Adam that people would be close to God again one day, just as God promised to Abraham that he would have more descendants than there are stars in the sky, and just as God promised to David, Jesus the King lives forever. Now I wonder which is your favourite part of the story. I wonder which bit you like the best. I wonder which part was new for you today. I wonder if you saw something different, something you weren't expecting. And I wonder where you might be in the story. There are some pictures up on the screen which are scenes from the story. Can you go back to Mum and Dad, or whoever it is that you came with? Off you go. Quick sticks. And perhaps there's a part of the story that is important for you, whether you're a child or whether you're an adult. And I'd like you to share with someone around you the thing that was important to you about today's story. You can share it with someone next to you, or you can share it with God.